Hi, my name is Barry Manandi and you're listening to the ZiFM Sport podcast.
The hottest station in the nation. ZiFM Stereo.
It's Lionel Messi! He scored! The goal the world wanted!
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch and it's in! And I can't remember the last time I saw something like this. Extraordinary scenes.
The biggest interviews.
It's more difficult. Obviously, it's more difficult.
And all the analysis right here.
If they play poorly, they come back, they've got all the excuses. You can't have it both ways.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
Friday the 22nd of February, we will be doing a big drawing, giving someone the opportunity of winning a Capri fridge. Indeed, ZiFM Sport is the gift that keeps on giving, because we're not only causing people to win every single weekday, we give you all the sports news, all the breaking news, and we keep you appraised as to what's happening in the most beautiful vocation we know, and that is a sport. On the home front tonight, we can catch up with a Logan Cup cricket action where Rhinos thrashed Eagles to keep the title race alive. In our international sports segment, we get the most riveting outtakes from the opening weekend of the Six Nations rugby tournament. And in the beautiful game, we zone in on the Premier League log leaders Liverpool, who are feeling the heat after dropping points away to West Ham. There's a team that delivers the show.
Absolutely, and of course that in-studio team is headed by Sean Tafirenyika, our producer. Mark Pozzo is in the house, so is Barry Manandi. Alois Munjiro will be joining us a bit later on, and my name is Mike Madod. And remember, we'll love to keep it interactive on the show, and for our WhatsApp number, simply jot down 0731 168 045. That's 0731 168 045. If you're interested in participating in the Pro Feeds Sport Daily Sports Trivia, get in your hashtags early. Pro Feeds Trivia.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
And we start the show in the Logan Cup, where Carl Jarvis and Neville Madziva shattered the Eagles' top order batting in their second innings to send them crashing to 120 all out, and a defeat by a convincing margin of 260 runs at Old Hararians yesterday. Rhinos began the day 346 runs ahead with 3 second innings wickets still in hand, but decided to bat on for 5 overs in the morning to enable them to use the heavy roller, which would help the pitch to break up a little more and benefit their bowlers. Those 5 overs brought them another 36 runs, most of them to Brandon Mavuta, who scored 29 not out off of 24 balls, and the total at the declaration was 347 for 8 wickets. So looking at that scoreboard, Rhinos 304 for 9 declared, Tendai Chisora 56, PJ Moore 46, and then 347 for 8. PJ Moore, the skipper, with 92, Bothwell Chapungu 62, Prince Masavere 55, Honest Ziwera 5 for 62. Eagles 269 in their first innings. Elton Chigumbura with 71, Tapiwa Mafudzwa with 54, Carl Jarvis picking up 3 for 42, and Neville Madziva 3 for 48. And then Eagles crumbling to 120 all out. Tino Mutumbodzi with 49, Brandon Mavuta 4 for 28, Neville Madziva 3 for 20, and Kyle Jarvis 3 for 30, doing the damage at the end. So a comfortable win for the Rhinos by 262 runs. Mike, again, a very comfortable win for the Rhinos. Stuart Matsakaneri incidentally said after the match he was generous in praise for the excellent and superior play of Rhinos in what he had been an outstanding 4-day match played in very good and a competitive atmosphere. Do you still get the feeling that the competitiveness is still there in domestic cricket?
No, absolutely not. I think it's competitive in so far as the level of cricketers that are involved in our domestic competition.
Yep.
And so I hate to say this, and I say this with all respect, but even in a primary school team, you're going to find competitiveness because they are merely people who are operating at the same level. And so there are going to be some very good dust-ups, where they go head-to-head. So what you get right now are players that I believe are not quite good enough to be competing at first-class level anywhere else in the world. And by this, I'm talking about the top-tier cricketing nation. So I'm talking about players like Prince Mashaure, players like Honest Ziwira, Tapiwa Mufudza, Brendan Mavuta. Would they be playing first-class cricket in South Africa? The big answer is no. Would they be playing first-class cricket in England? They wouldn't qualify. In Australia, they wouldn't qualify. In India, they wouldn't qualify. In Pakistan, they wouldn't qualify.
No, they wouldn't.
And so for me...
They qualify in Zimbabwe.
They qualify in Zimbabwe because they are playing amongst themselves. And so for me, that's the big worry, Barry. And it's really concerning.
It's the quality. It's a quality issue that's the problem, because what you got... And we have a direct example. You've got PJ Moore, who can plunder 92 runs in the second innings of the Rhinos, okay? We put him on the international stage and he's scoring in the early double digits if we're lucky. If we aren't, then he does the usual and does a single digit score. So consequently, that already shows you that the quality, I think, is at an all-time low. And we go back to that argument whereby the sifting mechanism for you to become a first-class cricketer, it's too easy in Zimbabwe. You don't have the layers which you have to go through in other countries, whereby when you're coming from school, and in order for you to become a first-class cricketer, you've gone through 3, maybe 4 layers, and you're getting the cream of the cream. Here, you leave school and you can play first-class cricket. In fact, sometimes while you're at school, you're playing first-class cricket.
Yeah, nowhere else in the world would that happen. Right, this leaves the Logan Cup in an intriguing situation as Eagles have 26 points, Rhinos 24 with 1 match to play, and Mountaineers have 25 with 2 matches to play. Tomorrow, Eagles and Mountaineers meet at Old Hararians, while Rhinos, Thursday, Eagles and Mountaineers meet at Old Hararians, while Rhinos play Tuskers at Harare Sports Club. There's also one postponed match to be played next week when Mountaineers will face the Tuskers at Old Hararians, and this extra match perhaps makes the Mountaineers favourites to retain the Logan Cup.
In another match played yesterday, a fine bowling spell by Donald Tiripano for the Mountaineers pushed Tuskers to a heavy defeat by an innings and 114 runs at Harare Sports Club just before lunch on the final day of their Logan Cup match. A brief look at the scorecard. The Mountaineers 497 on the back of Timison Maruma, who made 165, ably supported by Tafaz Watsiga 124 and Donald Tiripano 71. Chris Mpofu snaring 5 for 116 for the Tuskers. Put into, of course, to bat in reply, the Tuskers 127. Skittled Tafim Pariwa, the only scorer of note, with 34 runs. And then the bowlers doing the damage for the Mountaineers. Tendai Chatara 3 for 16. William Mashinge 3 for 31. When they followed on, the Tuskers could only manage 256. It was an improvement, but nowhere near big enough. Brian Chari 85. Donald Tiripano at Tendai Chatara doing the damage for the Mountaineers. Tiripano picking up 5 for 56 to add, of course, to the 71 runs that he had made with the bat, where the Mountaineers were, of course, batting. And then Tendai Chatara picked up 3 for 35. The Mountaineers winning by an innings and 114 runs. A look at the Logan Cup points table. Leading the way, the Eagles. They've played 5. They have 26 points. The Mountaineers have played 4 matches. They are just 1 point behind the leaders, the Eagles. They have 25, meaning that if they win their game in hand, they should hit the top. The Midwest Rhinos, 5 matches, 24 points. And then somewhere behind there, lots of points behind, 15 points behind, are the Tuskers. They play 4 matches and they have 9 points.
Hi, my name's Ryan Cairns, Sunshine Tour professional golfer, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
All right, let's wrap up the rest of the local sports news with golf news that Tafara Mpofu won the 2019 Zimbabwe Golf Association opening tournament, the Dugmore Trophy at Bulawayo Golf Club on Sunday. Mpofu was outstanding in the 3 rounds, carding scores of 76, 66 and 75. The Chapman-based top amateur was part of 40 players who turned up for the first tournament of the 2019 golf season. The Dugmore Trophy carries some Order of Merit points as well. In basketball news, Mavericks extended their unbeaten run in the Bulawayo Basketball League by beating Highlanders A 64-50 at Kanyisile Sports Center. The Admos Ndlovu coached team has won all its 6 league matches. Ndlovu attributed the win to his players' present mental toughness that enabled them to turn the game around in the dying minutes of the match. Highlanders A led for the first 2 quarters but failed to see out the game. Coach Theo Wheel bemoaned his side's missed chances but said they had learnt from their mistakes. Let's wrap it up with rugby news, where Old Miltonians put up a spirited performance to edge Highlanders 17-12 and book a place in the final of the Bulawayo Metropolitan Rugby Football Board Under-21 tournament at Hartsfield on Saturday. They will face defending champions Matabeleland Warriors in the final. Old Miltonians beat Highlanders despite playing the better part of the game. A player down after Captain Innocent Ngube was shown a red card for verbally abusing the referee. Old Miltonians scored 3 tries through Tanaka Chikaka, Fortune Kumalo and Siviso Zetu Moyo, with only 1 conversion kick for Premo Sadomba.
Here we go again.
Enjoy world-class radio online. ZiFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZiFM Stereo and you got it. To all you Twitter heads, connect with ZiFM Stereo on twitter.com/ZiFM Stereo /ZiFM Stereo.
From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
A reminder once again of our WhatsApp platform, 0731 168 045. That's 0731 168 045. Keep your pro feeds hashtags coming in if you want to participate in our daily sports trivia. Straight after our play of the day, we'll be giving you, one of you guys, a call. And of course, you'll have 2 questions that you'll have to field. Get both correct and you'll be in that draw on Friday, the 22nd of February, where you can win yourself a Capri double door fridge, 290 litre number. It's well worth the effort, I tell you. And also to keep your messages, your thoughts, your views on the stories that we're giving you coming in as well. Don't forget to follow and interact with us on social media, Twitter and Facebook at ZiFM Sport. Let's go to rugby, which is our international sports news feature today. Eddie Jones says England are still improving and nowhere near their best despite putting last year's disappointing Six Nations behind them with a thumping 32-20 victory over holders Ireland in Dublin on Saturday. Without a victory in Dublin for 6 years and having to go back to 2011 for the last time they even crossed the try line at the Aviva Stadium, Lansdowne Road. England secured a bonus point win thanks to tries from Johnny May, Elliot Daly and 2 from Henry Slade. Let's hear from the England coach, Aussie Eddie Jones.
Yeah, when you play against Ireland at home, you know it's going to be a physical game, and so we came prepared for that, and we knew we had to win that battle to win the game. Yeah, some games are immensely physical, some more tactical, but we went in there, we ripped in, probably shaded them a little bit in that area, and we know they're a top team. They're well coached, well drilled. But I thought our intensity, particularly in the first part of the game, was outstanding. Well, I know the next one's going to be better. That's the only thing I know. We're a team that's still growing. We're nowhere near our best. So we're looking forward to play better than that, and we will.
England coach Aussie Eddie Jones. They're talking about England being nowhere near the best and that they are growing as a team. Just to remind you of the Six Nations result that came out this past weekend, we did give you that England to 32-20 30-20 victory over Ireland. Two other matches. The first one on Friday evening. So Wales upend France in a glorious comeback in Paris, 24-19. And then Scotland too good for Italy, 33-20 at Murrayfield in Edinburgh. But of course, our talking points are around the match at Lansdowne Road, Mark, where Ireland were upended, and for a team that went to the tournament as favourites, and a lot of people in the media talking them up as possibly favourites for the World Cup, that was a disappointing start to the year.
Well, those odds have certainly been reduced now, but I can certainly say I was one of those that went into the opening Six Nations game thinking Ireland will beat England. I thought they would beat them convincingly, but you know what, Eddie Jones, give him credit where credit's due, because what he did was he changed his whole style of play when he took on Ireland on Saturday, because the Irish are not used to losing battles up front, and that's where England certainly dominated from the start.
For sure.
And that's what got them to score 4 tries in the game. And Ireland didn't know how to come back from that. And I think Eddie Schmidt would have been very surprised. That Joe Schmidt would have been very surprised that he was outthought by Eddie Jones, because I think he thought that they were going to win this game comfortably. And England certainly looked very good. And if they can take that form that they showed on Saturday into the rest of the Six Nations, they'll be unbeatable.
Yeah, they'll be unbeatable if they play like that. And you just have to look at the physicality that was brought. And to see players like CJ Stander and Devin Toner, almost beaten down by the English was something of a surprise, especially with the way that they had fronted up to the All Blacks last year. And a lot of people had been impressed by their physicality and their ability as well to use the ball when they didn't get into space versus the All Blacks. But they weren't given a chance by an England side that attacked relentlessly and defended superbly.
And if you look at the work that was put in by players like Marco Vunipola at the front, exactly as Paul said, up front is where they lost it, and they didn't expect that. Listen, that England hasn't been known traditionally to be a very physical team, but they came and they brought the physicality, were strong at the breakdown, and also used the ball very intelligently when they had it. So I think the game plan was 100%. Whether England can put in a performance like that week in, week out, I'm doubtful, because they certainly played very, very well.
Well, Conor Murray, the Irish scrummy, says Ireland have to learn from the England defeat when they resume their Six Nations campaign against Scotland on Saturday. England, of course, Ireland, leaking more than 30 points at home for just the second time under Joe Schmidt, with the head coach branding the loss a World Cup reality check. Is this a perfect time, Alois, to lose a game? You know, we're talking about the World Cup. It's all about the World Cup for rugby nations. The World Cup is in October. It's later on. There's still at least 8 months for these nations to prepare for the biggest tournament that they will play in this year. Is this the right time for you to be losing and then learning?
Yeah, if you are going into a tournament like this is big. You don't want to get there when you think you are prepared, when you are ill-prepared. So you want to see all your mistakes. You want to play, especially against the tough opponents, so that you can actually see where you are. Lose now so that you can rectify. By the time the tournament comes in, then you know your strength. You know that this is where we are lacking. We need to go it this way. I actually think, yes, if you are going to lose in the preparations, then you fix your mistakes, then you go in. It's actually a tune-up. Yes.
And that's what I said. That was one of the arguments I postulated last year when the All Blacks lost to Ireland. Yeah. That was the perfect time for the All Blacks to lose. Because what's happened is that it's almost like it's a warning for them, a wake-up call for them.
It's a reality check.
And they've given the All Blacks now a full year to prepare.
Correct all those mistakes. And here's the thing. You can see it with how the Rugby Championship is now going to be truncated. All of these tournaments, Six Nations, the Rugby Championship, are all tune-up tournaments, all preparing for the World Cup. Whether you lose, whether England storms to a Grand Slam, win of the Six Nations, it's all great. Everything is down to the Webb Ellis Trophy. When we're competing for the Webb Ellis, everyone has got to be on top of their game.
Round 2 fixtures this weekend. We'll see Scotland taking on Ireland at Murrayfield, and then Italy will take on Wales in Rome, and then at Twickenham, the home of rugby, it'll be the English taking on the French.
Hello, my name is Iban Itzwith. I play for the Stormers and the Springboks. You're listening to ZiFM.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
Our first stop around the world is in South Africa, where former Proteas all-rounder Sean Pollock has picked hosts England and India as favourites for this year's Cricket World Cup. Pollock, who played 303 ODIs and represented his country at 4 World Cups, addressed reporters in Johannesburg alongside the Cricket World Cup trophy, which is currently on display in the country as part of the International Cricket Council's Trophy Tour to create awareness for the showpiece event in England and Wales. Pollock said it would be hard for teams like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, West Indies and Sri Lanka to mount serious challenges. Off to Azerbaijan, where the Azerbaijan has extended its Formula One contract to continue hosting races on its Baku Street circuit until 2023. The country joined the calendar in 2016, and the last 2 editions of the race have been amongst the most dramatic and incident-filled of the season. The renewal is the first to be signed in 2019 and follows on from those from the Belgian, Chinese, German, Japanese and Singapore races agreed over the previous 2 years. To America, where Golden State Warriors general manager Bob Myers is confident Kevin Durant will re-sign with the team for next season. In fact, Myers thinks his all-star forward will be back, along with the foundation that has helped turn the Golden State into an NBA dynasty that is favoured to win the championship for the 4th time in 5 years. Durant could re-sign with the Warriors for up to 5 years at $219 million and presumably give them another chance to win an NBA title in their first season at Chase Center in San Francisco. Or Durant could sign elsewhere, forcing the Warriors to add complementary pieces to Curry, Green and possibly Thompson. That's your sport in 60.
The Daily Sports Trivia question is brought to you by Profeeds. Profeeds, your feed and farm professionals.
All right, it's competition time. Simply send us a WhatsApp message with the hashtag ProFeedsTrivia and you might be the one lucky listener we call back. You'll field 2 questions and if you get both correct, you'll be our daily winner and in with a chance of winning our fabulous first prize of 2019, a Capri double door 290-litre fridge. The first draw, of course, is going to be held on Friday the 22nd of February. You want to get in on the fun.
Right, let's go to our phones, and we have got Patricia on the line. Good evening, Patricia. Welcome to ZiFM Stereo, and welcome to the Pro Feeds Sports Trivia.
Evening, Pod. It's Letitia, not Patricia.
Oh, Letitia. Okay, now you said that we're sexist because we don't ever pick women for this show.
No, I was saying, how come you don't ask women?
Okay, well, if you think you're a sports fan, we've got 2 questions for you. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Now, question number 1. In what year was Zimbabwe Saints crowned Zimbabwe champions after winning the Super League? Was it 1986, 1987, or 1988?
What?
Brilliant, Letitia.
Oh, Letitia.
Come on, Letitia.
Just give it a guess.
It's multiple choice, Letitia.
Give it a guess, Letitia.
Come on.
Can I try 86?
No, go. Okay, have another go. Have another go.
Have another go.
Now I've got only 2 choices.
You got 87 or 88. Barry Menandi was born in 77.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And he was 11.
Okay, I think, you know what, with Letitia being...
That's a giveaway now.
I think,
if she listened to Barry.
I think this one, you know what, let's remodel the question.
Okay.
From what town was Zimbabwe Saints?
Yes.
Letitia, what town in Zimbabwe was Zimbabwe Saints? Do you need a clue?
Yeah.
What
I'm trying to think, is it the one that split from... Was it Zimbabwe Saints or Saints something that split from Highlanders or something? I don't know if it was that.
So what city were they from?
Come on, Letitia.
Lyle.
Yeah. Okay. Letitia, question number 2 we're not going to help you with.
Yeah.
The Staples Center is home to which 2 Los Angeles NBA teams?
Los Angeles. Okay. Lakers?
Yes. And?
Go on, Letitia.
The one with Steph Curry?
No. That one is from San Francisco.
San Francisco.
There's another one. It's also known as the LA something.
What do you do to your toenails?
Clippers.
Right, you go into the draw. Letitia, well done. You're a great sport, and your name will be going forward for the draw on the 22nd of February.
What do you do?
And don't ever call us sexist again.
Yeah, we are not sexist.
I did it.
Have a great evening. Cheers.
You too.
Bye.
Well, you take a tap in these circumstances.
The Daily Sports Trivia question was brought to you by Profeeds. Profeeds, the performance feed.
To all you Twitter heads, connect with ZiFM Stereo on twitter.com/ZiFM Stereo. /ZiFM Stereo.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
The touch paper. It is blue touch paper. Always him on Derby Day.
All the stars.
Absolutely brilliant again from Mo Salah. The twinkling feet, the ice cold finish, the Egyptian on fire.
And all the game-changing moments.
Aguero!
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
This is the league we want to watch.
All right, we did say at the top of the show that we will be camping out on log leaders Liverpool. Now, Andrew Robertson denied Liverpool are showing signs of nerves after being held to a second successive draw. The Reds have dropped 7 points in their last 5 games following Monday's 1-1 draw at West Ham, and Manchester City can overtake them on goal difference at the top of the Premier League if they beat Everton tomorrow. It is 29 years since Liverpool's last league title, but Robertson says the players aren't feeling any added pressure. Robertson says Liverpool are not showing any nerves in the Premier League title race. Let's hear from him.
I wouldn't say nerves are showing. Did anyone say that when, City picked up no points at Palace and Leicester? I don't think they did. So it's no different for us. A lot of people talk about pressure because we've not been in this position, but it's February. I think everyone needs to relax and try and enjoy the run. And if you're fans or if you're a spectator from another club or whatever, then you can watch. I'm sure many other teams would want to be in the position that we're in just now. So nerves aren't shown in the changing room. It's just it's been 2 poor results and poor performances. It happens during a long season. We look back on it. We might look back on it as a good point, but we don't know that just now, and we need to get back to playing the better football that we can. But it's nothing to do with nerves.
Long season, lots of things have happened, lots of things to happen. You buy into that and subscribe to it, Mike?
No. I think on both levels, I think there is a touch of nerves because I think it's quite pressurized at the top. They are fighting for the championships. They are leading, and they are leading a team that they know is very good, and that is Manchester City, a team with quality, a team with arguably the best manager in the world. So they know that Manchester City is not going anywhere quickly. Manchester City, if anything, are going to fight for this title until the very last day of the season if they need to, because they have that sort of belief that, we are the best team in England, we're one of the best teams in Europe, and so we can chase down Liverpool. So for me, there is that pressure. There'll always be pressure, even for Manchester City. They've got pressure as well, in this title race. So I know that you have to say the right things as a player, when you're interviewed, and of course you have to deny certain things. But you can see sometimes, in some of the decisions that are being made, in the way that some of the players were rushing things in the attacking third versus West Ham, Mohamed Salah, the mistakes, etc. That's as a result of trying to do things a lot quicker than they're used to, because they're just trying to make sure that, we need that goal that gives us the 3 points and then get the lead, faster. So the pressure is there. But however, for Liverpool, I take a look at this and say, if you can't win games, draw them. Don't lose matches. Not a lot of guys are going to go to West Ham and blow them away, because West Ham, as we have seen, they're not the side they were in September, October. No. They have improved steadily in November, December, January, and when they show up like they did yesterday, they can trouble any team. And a side that when they boast the talents of Marko Arnautovic when he's available for them can trouble the best of them. Mike there talks about the fact that don't lose. Is that the key towards closing out a title race of this nature? Because we've got a proper, honest-to-goodness title race, the first time in a long time.
Yeah, with the situation right now, you might want to say that, towards the end, there are nerves on both sides. The team that is chasing, the team that is leading. So you might want to crawl through with that 1 point. You might just win that league by 1 point because it's too close. So at least you might say, you know what, we haven't lost, but we gained 1 point. That point can actually carry us over the line. So if you don't play well, just grab that point and take it home. Even if Man City overtakes them now, on tomorrow, they still need to just keep on doing what they need to do.
At the end of the day, Pos, where would you rather be? You'd rather be at the top of the log. If they closed out today and a bomb hit England or whatever the case may be, Liverpool would be champions. So you'd rather be ahead of the curve rather than be the chaser.
Oh, without doubt. And as I think as Mike put it, they're up against probably the best team in the Premiership, the holders of the Premiership title. They ain't giving up. And behind that, there's another bus.
Yeah.
In Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
Who are also hot on everybody's heels.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, you know what?
We've got a title race on our hands.
We have got a title race on our hands.
To goodness. I want to ask you, Mike, Liverpool looking a bit like they lacked legs. They looked a bit leggy. They looked. Things were happening a bit slower than we're used to.
I thought the fullbacks were lackluster.
I wanted to say the
Absolutely.
They don't have the intensity that they had in the middle of the season.
That's the word.
That intensity.
Liverpool lacked it. What do you ascribe to that?
I think it's because they don't have the same balance they had at the beginning of the season. Sure. I don't think it's because they're weary or they're tired. It's because if you take a look at Liverpool in the first half of the season, there are 2 players that are critical. In fact, 3 players that are critical to the transitions from defense to offense. Those 3 players are mainly Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back.
Yeah.
He's often the outball for them when they shift teams from side to side.
Liverpool now doesn't have a right back.
And then Robertson as well on the left as well.
Sure.
And then you've got Gini Wijnaldum in the middle.
Right.
He's sort of like your fetcher, the guy who fetches the ball, and then he then drives with the ball, and he's able to feed the attacking 3. Now, what you're getting is a situation where you've got a Naby Keita who's short on confidence and making mistakes,
and he holds onto the ball,
and holds onto the ball far too long, because he runs with the ball for far too long. And then you've got, of course, the other guys who are coming into play. Fabinho is decent, but what Fabinho is a holding midfielder, so he's not the guy that you are expecting to create the chances for you.
Right.
He's the guy you're expected to make the first pass when you're transitioning into offense. So with Liverpool without Trent, without Gini, they are not shifting from defense to offense as quickly as they should for the likes of Salah, Mane as well as Firmino. So those players are then being sucked in deep to try and receive the ball and fetch the ball and do the fetching themselves, meaning that Liverpool are short of numbers in attack. For me, with Gini Wijnaldum returning possibly in a week, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold is well set to return, I think you'll see a slightly different Liverpool when they have their players fully fit.
Yeah, and interesting comments coming out of Manuel Pellegrini as well, because some may say that Liverpool has had the rub of the green. There are things that have gone their way, and last night as well something went their way because there was an offside call that wasn't given that led to the goal that was scored by Sadio Mane. But Manuel Pellegrini after the game saying that Klopp has always benefited from offside goals, and he says he was left baffled by the refereeing decision, and he cited the Champions League quarter-final where his Mayaga side were controversially knocked out by Klopp's Borussia Dortmund. And to reference something in the past, he pulled something out of the archives, but in truth you can see that it was a manager who had pinned his colours to his mast. He said that I'm representing West Ham, but I would want to do a favour for Manchester City. He would have wanted to take all 3 points yesterday.
Yeah, he really wanted the 3 points, and I actually think that it actually became personal as well.
Yeah.
It was about him and Klopp. He wanted to beat Klopp.
Yes.
You know, so he was very annoyed by that.
But even then, you know, it just shows you that he's still irked by that Borussia Dortmund victory over Mayaga. Mainly because Borussia Dortmund pulled off a stunning comeback.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's what irks him. What irks him is that he looked like he was set to qualify.
Yes.
And then Borussia Dortmund did what they did. And if you have memories of that match or watched that match, it was not a case of Borussia Dortmund were lucky to get over the line versus Mayaga. They battered Mayaga and did the business. I remember Mats Hummels playing as a quarterback. He was by the halfway line.
He pushed everyone
He pushed everyone up. And he was doing the defensive business and the playmaking by himself. So Mayaga have got themselves to blame. And usually actually, for attacking teams, here's what a lot of people don't understand, and Alois, as a player, you probably attest to this. Attacking teams will always get the rub of the green one way or the other.
Course,
attacking teams
so much pressure.
win more penalties.
Yes.
Attacking teams force, and I say that in quotes, officials to make mistakes because they're always on the move. The movement, everything is happening so quickly. When Manchester United was dominating the English Premier League, which side used to win the most penalties? Manchester United.
Because they are in the box the most.
Because they are in the box the most. So you now see it with teams like Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool. Those teams attack, and so the chances of them receiving penalties are quite a lot. And so for me, that is the reason why your Barcelonas, they get penalties. Your Real Madrid, they get penalties. Your Juventuses, they get penalties because
you don't get a penalty always defending.
You can't, if you park the bus, how are you going to get the penalty?
Yeah, you won't.
100%.
You won't.
All right, going to try and wrap this up, but before we do that, Alois, this is where Jurgen Klopp earns his stripes. By keeping his team focused, keeping his team relaxed. Mike said, listen, you got to say the right things, and Robertson is saying the right sort of things there, but everybody's got to touch on nerves. He's got to calm those boys down and make sure that they focus on the task at hand until they hit the run-in. Because if you look at the run-in, Manchester City probably has a shade more difficult of a run-in than Liverpool, and Liverpool on paper should be able to close this out.
Yeah, you see, I think they need to go back to where it started in the beginning of the season when they were running all over the other teams and believe in themselves that, you know what, we have got the ability to go through this, to get across this line.
Right.
You know, once they start doubting themselves, maybe Manchester City had better, maybe that's actually the biggest problem.
Go back to Klopp's first speech at Liverpool. He said, I want to bring back belief.
Yes.
The fans have got to believe. The players have got to believe.
Everybody around Liverpool, around Anfield must believe. This is what they need to go back and say, you know what, we are good enough. We can do this. We can do this thing. They must get into all the remaining matches with that belief. Because you know what, we have done it before. We can do this. Let Man City chase. We are already ahead. We are 3 points ahead. Yep. Let them chase. It's just, let's just mind our own business and win our games.
And I actually think that I think this week, the next 7 days are, I think, are critical in this championship race. What do you have? You've got Man City playing tomorrow versus Everton.
Yep.
And then you've got Man City playing on Sunday versus Chelsea. Now, Liverpool have got the perfect match for me to bounce back. They're playing at home against a Bournemouth side that if Liverpool play well, they should be able to beat.
Yeah.
So that is great for Liverpool. In that game, Liverpool should be looking to get 3 points.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like Alois said, we are the ones who are leading this title race, okay?
Yes, yeah.
So it's you who's chasing. We just need to keep it ticking along. And so for me, Liverpool's got the perfect... If they can't win this Bournemouth game, then you have to say that, you know what, you don't deserve to win the title. Because if you can't beat Bournemouth at home to relieve pressure, then you don't deserve to win the title.
When you're chasing the title at home against Bournemouth, you just have to win.
Well, let's take a look at that tasty title race that's in the offing. Liverpool is on top, having played 25 games with 62 points. Man City in second with 59 points, 3 points behind Liverpool. But like we said, they're playing a game tomorrow. Tottenham is in third on 57 points. They are 5 points behind log leaders. And Chelsea is in fourth, wrapping up the Champions League spots with 50 points.
Right, Steve McLaren believes Manchester United will have an easy managerial decision to make if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer keeps on winning, having become Jose Mourinho's temporary successor in December. Solskjaer has overseen 7 wins and a draw in the Premier League to lift a resurgent United to within 2 points of the top 4. United will appoint a new permanent manager in the summer, and current QPR boss McLaren, who helped coach the Norwegian and his teammates to a historic treble as Sir Alex Ferguson's assistant in 1999, says Solskjaer has been unbelievable in the job so far. Let's hear from the former assistant United manager.
I know Ollie well, and he's a thinker, he's intelligent, he's very good communicator with players, and I think that's helped. He's gone into a situation which many people said he had nothing to lose. He had everything to lose. No pressure, enormous pressure. It's one of the top 3 clubs in the world, so that's pressure to manage them. And I know pressure also in yourself that you want to do well. So I know all his ambitions going in there, and I think he's excelled all expectations. And not just excelled it, but playing, exciting, attacking. Manchester United, all traditional football. They've adapted to what he's trying to give them, and it's working. And if it continues to work, I think Manchester United will have an easy decision at the end of the season.
Bunj, you got to say that under Solskjaer, he's opened the car windows, as it were, and he's let in the fresh air.
That's a good point. That's what he brought. He brought team spirit with him. He didn't change much. He arrived with players that were actually being used as robots, and he switched off that. The switch. The switch. He switched it off. And he said, you know what, my robots, now I want you to play. Just go and play the way you wanna play.
Enjoy, yeah.
And enjoy. And they're doing it. And the other trick, the best part, like I said, to give Rashford a very good run.
Yeah.
In his favored position.
Not playing him wide left, as a central striker.
Yeah. So now everybody else is linking up with him. Look at that run that he made for that pass from Pogba. That's where he plays. He made that run already expecting that particular ball to come. And it did come. This is what sometimes they don't get magnet. But this is how it works.
And there's some stats, you know what, that actually support the fact that
they're fascinating stats.
Has come in and he's sort of like getting more out of his players. You know, if you go to the stats around sprints, this is sprints per game. Yeah. Under Mourinho, it was just 99. Now it's up to an average of 111. It shows me that the players are willing to do more and to run more for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They are creating more chances. Under Mourinho, it was 9. It's up to 12. In terms of their defending, they are actually defending better. Just 7% of shots conceded. Under Mourinho, it was 12. You're taking a look at the win percentage. It's over double that of Mourinho. Under Mourinho, it was 41.2%. Under Ole, it's 87.5%.
Well, look
the
at
goals that they are scoring.
Look at the points. I mean, the points. Mourinho was 1.5 points, so he was averaging basically a draw and a better game.
Yeah.
Whereas Solskjaer was 2.75, nearly 3 points, winning all of his matches.
Yeah.
Bunch, would you like to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made the permanent manager of Manchester United?
So far, yes. If you ask me now, if they are going to be appoint a substantial coach now, I'll say yes. But we have to wait. Like I agree with McLaren that he has to keep winning. We have to see where he finishes. Number 4 for me is still good enough, because from where we were looking at a team that wouldn't even qualify for Europe.
Are they number 5 is a terrible. I understand what you're saying because of where you were, but I think number 5 is going to be a terrible place for Manchester United.
It is
to finish on the basis that the next manager has got very little leeway on the transfer market in terms of the quality that he can bring in and players who can genuinely improve Manchester United. Because remember, when you are chasing, you're not competing with let's say hypothetically Liverpool finishes second and Chelsea finishes third. You know, you're not competing with Chelsea and Liverpool. You are competing with the team at the top. That's the team you have to close the gap with. So you look at Man City and then you look at a team that finishes 5th and you say, what are the chances that you can get the right sort of personnel to close the gap between yourselves and the champions? Because there's a certain caliber of player.
Champions League football.
Yes, there's a certain caliber of player that will only play Champions League football even in their twilight. A Sergio Ramos, for example, is not going to leave Real Madrid even if he wants a hefty paycheck to come and play Europa League football. No, he's going to go to a Champions League playing team. And so for me, that'll be a challenge. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should gun for that 4th place. It's possible to finish in the top 4 right now with the way that the other teams above them are inconsistent, and so they've got a bit of a chance as far as that 4th place finish is concerned.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful, where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day, where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic.
It's Lionel Messi!
All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
The goal the world wants it!
Right, a few updates from the continent. Starting in Spain, Lionel Messi missed training yesterday and is a major doubt for Barcelona's Copa del Rey semi-final first leg against Real Madrid tomorrow. Messi injured his thigh in Saturday's 2-2 draw versus Valencia, but was able to finish the game. Barca coach Ernesto Valverde played down fears over the injury after the match, and sources told ESPN FC the club were optimistic that Messi would be available versus Madrid. But after having Sunday off, Messi still had pain in his thigh when he arrived at training and will undergo tests to determine the extent of the problem. This could be the great leveler, isn't it, Barry, as far as these two teams are concerned?
Yeah,
I think those of you following La Liga will know and acknowledge that Barcelona looks like it's a cut above Real Madrid this season.
Yep.
But without Lionel Messi, it could mean that Real Madrid could edge slightly forward in terms of favourites for this particular encounter.
Yeah, it's a form of handicapping almost when you're looking at Real Madrid and Barcelona this season, because Barcelona without Messi has looked not average by any stretch of the imagination, but they look a cut down from when they have Messi.
Teams can defend better against them.
They certainly can, and we've seen games where he's come off the bench and played the last few minutes. Different side of Barcelona. So certainly I think this is handicapping for Barcelona.
Paolo Rossi, Marco van Basten, George Weah, Gabriel Batistuta, Alessandro Del Piero. Serie A has been home to some of the world's finest strikers. And now they welcome arguably the greatest of them all, Cristiano Ronaldo, the best of Italian football on Z.
Now in Italy, we've just witnessed the kiss of death. Luciano Spalletti's position as Inter coach is, quote, very secure, despite the team failing to win any of their last 4 matches, according to club CEO Giuseppe Marotta. Inter lost 1-0 at home to Bologna on Sunday, meaning they have failed to win any of their last 3 games in Serie A to sit 11 points behind second place Napoli in the table. They also exited the Coppa Italia last week, losing on penalties to Lazio after a 1-1 draw at San Siro, and the recent poor run has seen the pressure increase on Spalletti. Marotta insists Spalletti is safe, however, reassuring him about potentially losing his job anytime soon. And this is usually the kiss of death, isn't it?
You said it. Once you hear the president or the directors of a team saying, no, our coach is safe.
Everything's fine. Yeah.
He gets sacked.
Give it less than 2 weeks.
And he's gone. So Spalletti could be leaving Inter. It hasn't gone well at Internazionale.
Horsepower unmatched. Torque to beat the best. Speed unrivaled. Sleek and easy on the eye. Let's get behind the wheel of football engineered to perfection. The Bundesliga, made in Germany.
Right, our final port of call tonight is the Bundesliga, where Thomas Muller will miss Bayern Munich's Champions League tie against Liverpool after the club's appeal failed to get his 2-match ban overturned. Muller was sent off in Bayern's 3-3 Champions League draw against Ajax for a high challenge on Ajax defender Nicolas Tagliafico. Bayern argued against the 2-game suspension, subsequently giving to Muller, but was confirmed by the Bundesliga champions on Monday that UEFA has upheld the original decision. So a big blow there for Bayern Munich. He will be unavailable for both legs of their last 16 tie against the Premier League side, missing the first game at Anfield on February the 19th, as well as the reverse fixture in Munich on March the 13th.
Yeah, I think it works in Liverpool's favour because he's a very tricky customer, plays between the lines, very good number 10. He's had a better season than he's had over the last 12-18 months. But for Liverpool as well, they don't have Van Dijk for the first leg. So there's a bit of a leveller there. Because Van Dijk is suspended. So it's going to be an intriguing game. Manuel Neuer as well is not fully fit. He got injured as well, and so they're scrambling to make sure that he'll be available for that first leg. So it'll be interesting to see which teams are selected by both coaches heading into that first leg. It should be an intriguing encounter.
Thomas Muller missing for Bayern. I'm not shedding any tears whatsoever. All right, we're out of time. We'll catch you tomorrow at 6:05 down to 7 o'clock. It's Wacky Wednesday. Don't miss it. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.
Be sure to catch ZiFM Sport every weekday on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.